Here's a riddle for you. Who minted the largest gold and silver coins in the ancient world? Was it Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, Nero, or maybe a Persian emperor? No, none of them dared to do it. You have to go way out east to Bactria, an ancient Greek kingdom where Afghanistan exists today, and that's where you'll find two comparatively obscure kings who beat everybody in the business of making big coins, coins so large that they are called numismatic monsters today. Why did they do it? That's the biggest riddle of all, and I'm here to help you solve it. Let's start with this, the largest gold coin ever minted anywhere in the ancient world. It even has its own name, the Ukraadon, because it was manufactured for King Ukradides the Great in about 150 BC. As you can see, it is big and beautiful, made of 169.2 grams of pure gold. That's about 6 ounces. At today's market price per ounce, the gold alone is worth $22,199.52. But of course, given its age and rarity, this mega coin is priceless. Only one example has ever been found, this specimen, now in the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, and you won't believe how it got there. In 1867, the Ukraadon was smuggled to Europe, tucked beneath the armpit of a murderer. 7 men had found the coin in Central Asia, somewhere near Bukhara. The gold inspired greed that ended in gore as they fought to the death for the coin. When the knives fell silent, one man walked away with the prize headed for the wealthy pockets of collectors in London and Paris. With blood on his hands and a treasure too big to believe, he did not get the welcome he wanted. Every mention of this mega-coin was met with laughter by experts who could not be bothered to take a look at what was hidden beneath the stranger's armpit. Then late one evening at a London dinner party, several numismatists began talking about the laughable stranger shopping his huge coin among the city's antiquities dealers. All agreed it had to be a fake. But the story intrigued one of the guests, a French visitor, who decided to excuse himself and go looking for the mysterious man with the monster coin. The Frenchman found the foreigner in a run-down rented room in North London, and he asked to see this coin. The fellow removed his coat, waistcoat, waistband, shirt, and eventually revealed a sweaty old leather case strapped to his underarm. He pulled this from his armpit, opened it, and placed the gold prize into the expert's hands. The Frenchman was considered one of the most knowledgeable numismatists in the world, and he knew right away that the coin was genuine. It was, he later reported, the most important, most impressive, most valuable coin ever found, and he was wild with joy. But he must conceal his excitement to keep the price within his reach. It was no longer a battle of knives. It was now a battle of nerves. For over 100 years, no one knew the identity of this French expert until it was finally revealed in this book by, well, you know. Anyway, the Frenchman was the famous numismatist Gaston Feuardon, son of an antiquities dealer in Paris. On that night in London, Gaston looked the seller in the eye and lit a cigarette, trying to seem indifferent to the whole affair. The owner, a confessed killer, demanded £5,000 for the coin. Gaston countered. "I'll give you 1,000 for it right now," he said. "In 20 minutes my offer will be 800, and so on. And if you don't take my money tonight, tomorrow I would not buy your coin at any price." The old stranger tried to hold out, but Gaston held firm as the seconds and cigarettes ticked away. Suddenly the exasperated seller folded and surrendered his Ukraadon to the Frenchman, who hurried it away to Paris. There Gaston Feuardon and his father Felix sold the great coin to their emperor, Louis Napoleon III, for a 20% profit, of course. And that is why the Ukraadon remains to this day in a Paris museum, the pride of the French national collection. In appearance, the Ukraadon looks just like that king's other silver and gold issues, with the king's portrait on the obverse, wearing a fancy cavalry helmet, and under it his diadem, the ribbon draped behind his head that signified royalty. The reverse depicts the twin sons of Zeus, the Dioskuroi, armed with spears and racing to the right on their war horses. The king's name and titles frame the image in Greek, Basileus Megalou Eucratidou, meaning belonging to the great king Eucratides. The word coin is understood, and there is a control mark beneath the lead horse's feet, put there by the royal mint during production. What distinguishes the Eucratidon from the king's other coins is its size. This is one of the king's regular gold staters on the screen, also rare and in a Paris museum, but it was minted as a normal Greek denomination on the Attic standard. The Eucratidon is 20 times heavier, a numismatic monster. It has such high relief that the helmet actually casts a deep shadow on the king's face. Forget the flat coins of today. This is like a portable sculpture. But would anyone dare to carry this thing around or try to spend it in an ancient Bactrian market where the Eucratidon represented more than a whole year's salary for a skilled worker? Imagine yourself walking into the corner 7-Eleven with, say, a $75,000 coin and trying to pay for a Slurpee with it. And remember, in Bactria, you would have to make change with coins, not paper money. And this is the size of Eucratides' small change, a hard-to-see tiny silver oval, shown here sitting on a U.S. 1-cent coin. You'd need about 3,000 of these ovals just to make change for the Eucratidon. Don't ask your cashier to do that at your 7-Eleven. My point is that the Eucratidon is so big and valuable that it makes no sense as everyday currency. So why bother making it? A Mega-Coin was quite difficult to manufacture because of the skill required to hammer the high-relief design evenly into the flan without breaking the dies. 20 normal-sized staters would be much simpler to strike and more convenient to use. And for all that extra effort to create an oversized coin, there was no cost benefit at all. The same amount of gold was needed to make the Eucratidon as for 20 individual staters. Same cost, same value, more effort, less useful. What was Eucratides thinking? Whatever it was, another Bactrian ruler seems to have had the same idea. Meet King Amyntas the Conqueror, who reigned about 50 years after the death of Eucratides. This is one of his double decadrachmas, the largest silver coins ever minted in the ancient world, weighing nearly 85 grams or 3 ounces. It is 20 times larger than the standard silver denomination of its day, just as the Eucratidon was 20 times the standard gold denomination. That multiple hardly seems a coincidence. 5 of these 20 drachma coins were discovered buried in northern Afghanistan at a place called Kish Tepe, or Rubble Hill. You can find that story on this channel. Just look for the video titled A Bactrian Treasure. But back to our mystery. Why did Amyntas and Eucratides issue such huge coins? Many experts consider these coins to be victory medallions, struck to commemorate great military successes. For instance, the Eucratidon might be associated with one of the many wars fought by Eucratides against his Greek rivals, perhaps Demetrius in India. Unfortunately, the existence of Amyntas is known only through his coins, so there's no way even to guess what sort of war he may have won. Then again, some scholars argue that Eucratides' mega-coin signifies his extraordinary power, while Amyntas's are the opposite, a signal of humiliating weakness. The double decadrachmas were struck, they claim, as a means of paying off the nomadic enemies of Bactria, protection money extorted by hostile tribes. These experts don't explain why Amyntas would bother doing this with hard-to-manufacture monster coins, or why he used the same size multiplier, 20, as Eucratides. I think all the great coins, the giant coins, are similar, and that they must therefore share a common purpose, one that I shall call the Ozymandias effect. That name comes from a famous poem published in 1818 by Percy Shelley, which reads in part, I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand half sunk a shattered visage lies, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Shelley's poem is fiction, of course, but inspired by an actual Egyptian monument described by the ancient writer Diodorus Siculus. It reminds us that Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, and others frequently used grandiose statues, obelisks, palaces, tombs, and so forth to project a sense of power that might intimidate their enemies. For instance, some ancient sources report that Alexander the Great of Macedonia did this same thing on the eastern edge of his empire. There in India, the king allegedly built a series of gigantic altars intended to be as tall as military siege towers, and then he ordered his army to construct a supersized military camp to frighten away hostile outsiders. It had overly massive walls, barracks with beds for men 7.5 feet tall, and stables for giant horses, equipped with oversized harness and armor. Other sources wrote of Alexander recruiting 10,500 especially tall Macedonian and Persian soldiers to stand guard outside his court and to frighten his visitors. In the 17th century, Friedrich Wilhelm I of Prussia did the same sort of thing with his famous Potsdamer Riesenguard, a special regiment of super-tall soldiers. It makes you wonder about recent reports concerning the so-called garrison of giants at Magna Fort on Hadrian's Wall in Britain. Archaeologists there are baffled by the discovery of a surprising number of oversized leather shoes left at this Roman camp. It sounds a little like Alexander's alleged use of the Ozymandias effect. The stratagem of gigantism was certainly well known across the ancient world. Subscribers to this channel know that in Bactria there arose the legend of giant killer ants that guarded gold, a story whose Ozymandias effect helped keep outsiders away. I therefore wonder if the mega-coins of Eucratides and Amyntas were also meant to intimidate potential enemies. Just imagine the leaders of a nomadic tribe bordering on Bactria coming across coins far larger than anyone had ever seen before. Massive money that must have been minted for giants. It would take only a few such coins, sent perhaps as diplomatic gifts, to carry a simple message. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Would you want to tangle with soldiers being paid with coins the size of saucers, or who were rumored to be over 7.5 feet tall and riding around on giant horses? I don't think so. So maybe that's the answer to our mystery of the mega coins. I'm Dr. Frank L. Holt, your host on this channel about my ancient world. Thank you for watching, and please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this content with your friends and family. I look forward to seeing you here next time.